Okay, so I've got 40 days off and I want to do a long course, self-guided. How do I do it? How do I intensify my Anapana practice? So somebody asked me this question and I am going to respond. But before I do, if it's your first time here, my name is Sharol. A very warm welcome to you. And if you could hit the subscribe button and give the video a thumbs up. If you feel like it's resonating, that would be appreciated a whole lot. So yeah, let's get into it. 40 days. So the person that in their comments, they did mention that it had been a few years since they had sat their last 10-day course. So my first thought was, why not just do another 10-day? Yeah. Basically, it's wonderful that there is that drive to actually, and that ambition and desire to some extent. It's to want to push a little bit more and just explore and get to know yourself more. And why I would say, why not a 10-day course is, and I would encourage you to do the 10-day course, not a self-guided 40-day course. And I'll tell you why in a minute. Because, well, there's a lot of prep that goes into long courses, and long courses are different than your 10-day course. And, the requirements of a 10-day course, this is another question that a lot of you asked. What are the requirements? Well, you need to have sat at least 5 10-day courses, served at least one 10-day course, sat a Satipatthana course, which is an 8-day course, and kept up your daily practice morning and evening for 2 years, in addition to keeping the 5 precepts. So there's a lot of prep, right? Yeah, there is a lot of prep, and there's a reason for that. It's not really, and also to be committed to the practice and chosen this as your path. And I will make another video about this, because this is something that I made the mistake with. And yeah, I want to talk about that in another video. But coming back to this 40 days and doing a self-guided 40-day long course, that foundation is so important, because a lot comes up. A lot comes up in a 10-day course, and you can become a very serious meditator by doing 10-day courses, and Goenka talks about this. In a long course, there's a lot of support that's there, and I think that support is needed whenever you are at the center. Firstly, you are at a center, so the vibrations of the center, because all people do at Vipassana centers is meditate. That's it, right? So energetically, it's already starting with that vibration. Secondly, you have guidance from a teacher or an assistant teacher. And sometimes I think this is underestimated. So the teacher just doesn't hang out on the Dharma seat. They're also sending metta. And yeah, there's a lot happening beyond what we know, right? So yeah, take that support. I'd also encourage you to go and talk to your local teacher or assistant teacher, and contact them and just get to know them, talk to them, because a teacher needs to approve you for doing a course, and they need to know you, a long course. So yeah, that's something that I would suggest. The other thing is that in the mornings there is the chanting that is played by whether it's Goenka or by King, and that's really important, because there is the whole science of sound, and in the Vedic system they seem to have an explanation for just about everything, if not everything, and they talk about all the science of sound, nada yoga, and yeah, that's something to consider when you are doing a course like that. Also, you want to make sure that you're looking after yourself in the best way that you can, um, during any course. Like with the meals, make sure you're eating and you're not fasting, um, because yeah, but this ambition and this drive to essentially want to get enlightened, and I've been guilty of this. Just that's all I wanted, um, and that's it. And it was my whole life was based around that. So I understand where you're coming from, in wanting to go fast, and at the same time, what I've learned is that it's not about doing long courses. It's really about that day to day, and that's actually what really matters. And we can use these courses to get to know ourselves better, to deepen our practice. Yes, um, yeah, it's a wonderful opportunity, but I would suggest working in a calibrated way. I would suggest contacting your AT or teacher, and I would actually encourage you not to do it. um, yeah, I feel like it would be irresponsible of me to. I think it would be irresponsible to do it if you're following the full schedule, right? Um, or that's what the intention is. So keep that in mind. Um, yeah, do a 10-day. Like, just keep going with that, because the stronger your foundation is, the better, really, because the mind is a very, very fragile thing, and it can break. And we want to work with it with a stable foundation. And you want to be committed to the practice and know that this is it, right? Um, and they ask that of you to, like Vipassana is it. When you speak to students, and I used to wonder about this, where people will say, "Oh, Vipassana is the only way," and I'd be like, I'm not so sure, And one thing that I realized is that whatever path you choose, it actually doesn't matter. But whichever one you choose, that is the only way for you. Yeah. So um, we don't want you to be mixing practices, nothing like that. So that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, doing a long course on your own for 40 days, I wouldn't do it if it was me. Nah. Yeah, no. I would actually work and just take your time in that. When the opportunity presents, go to retreat center, work in a really, really calculated way, talk to your teacher. And yes, I've heard, like some people say teachers at different centers have opinions about them, and they're all different. And, everybody's doing the best that they can to guide you based on their experience. And um, yeah, if you have more questions and you're not satisfied with the answer from one teacher, just go ask another teacher. Um, yeah, that's something to consider. And if you do have the wonderful gift of 40 days off and you want to deepen your practice, and that doesn't happen to be a 10-day course, you can absolutely do a self-guided 10-day course. And before starting, once again, contact your AT or your teacher, and they will send you metta throughout the course. So that opportunity is there. Another thing to consider, and Vipassana is a complete practice. Like everything is there. You don't need anything else. And one thing that I would suggest, if in those 40 days, is before doing the course, to prep your body. Really, clean out the diet, uh, clean out the nervous system, and prep your body, because yeah, Vipassana is a strong practice, and a lot of people, perhaps maybe that can be another video about how to prepare for a course. Yeah, that's something to consider. So I hope this video helps. I don't mean to discourage you from doing a 40-day course. I'm actually encouraging you to do it in a responsible way. And you know, there's a reason things are laid out in that way, and it's really for your benefit. Um, yeah, it's there for your benefit, and we may not see the benefit or may not understand the benefit, but it really is there for our benefit. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.